What is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. Welcome back. Wanted to give you guys a crypto market update as we get into this weekend right here. I didn't give an update yesterday mainly because the market was kind of boring. There wasn't too much to really mention that I didn't already mention, so kind of just took that day off in terms of making a video. But a couple new things here. To be honest, not too much is new, but a few things we could definitely talk about. Money flow coming up, green dot right here, looking like continuation on your 12-hour, which could be leading to something cool. Something, along the lines of maybe 110, hopefully, at least, back up to 110, maybe a new all-time high. And then if we could break above that, excuse me, that's where you get into, or potentially 125. Now, you got a Fibula right there, 120, 125 would be the next kind of big area if we could break above that. As you get into the weekend, it could get a little dicey, a little choppy, as it generally is on the weekend with a lower trading volume. I mean, short-term time frames, I was looking at a little bit money flow kind of coming out, wave to the downside right there. I'm just thinking here, kind of coming down. Some of these could be the factor, the trigger to come back down to 99, test that. It's been a little choppy. So there's that. But when you look at kind of this formation here on like the 5-day, money flow is still good. I would assume you're probably going to break up. You should break up to, 120 to 130 eventually. I'll tell you why it may take a little bit of time for that to happen in just a second on our other chart. But yeah, look, as I've been saying, I don't see any reason to believe that this money flow can't go a bit higher here. Still looks like it could give its continuation and hopefully bring us up to at least 150K at some point this year. That's what I'm kind of looking at. And then when we move on to, Ethereum, that's the other one, trigger wave forming the 4-day. It could take some time to happen, but I do think if you can get that, we should be able to jump back up to that 4,300 mark, potentially up to, new all-time highs in a couple months, within a few months. March, well, I think February is going to be a good month, but if it takes longer than that, probably March or April will be when you'll see new all-time highs for Ethereum in my prospectus, whatever the hell that means, excuse me, in my view. I guess bearish case, your 3-week trigger wave to the downside. We've talked about this. I think it's more likely going to go like that rather than like that. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't be too worried about that until the thing prints a red dot. I would not be too overly worried about that. Okay, you definitely do have a bull div that confirms an hour on your 2-day, so I think that's good, and that could potentially, into the end of the month, bring us up to 3,800, maybe even 4,200, maybe. If Bitcoin goes up to 120, I think this easily can get up to those highs, and then ETH versus Bitcoin, as you see me talk about a lot. It is depressing, I'm looking at the opposite here. I'm like trying to make the bullish case out of in terms of the money flow here. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to make the generally, going with the bullish case and the money flow, the inverse of this on the 2-week on Bitcoin and Ethereum, continuing for that money flow. Kind of the opposite on ETH versus Bitcoin. However, we are hitting a really major point in the 4-year cycle. This is where it does bounce, and we are currently bouncing. So, I can't be that bearish on this. You have the FOMC meeting coming up relatively soon. I would assume if Powell sounds a bit less hawkish, he might, because you got the lion back in office. The debate is who is the real lion. Does Powell, Lion 2.0, back down to Trump and be less hawkish, more with the quantitative easing as the original Lion is back in office. But yeah, that's kind of what we have to look at here. The other thing too, if we look at we're kind of delayed in that aspect. If you look at here, it was December where it bottomed out. We've already, nullified that. Here it was December as well. We've nullified that. But February, this little bottom there, it could be like that. And then look at that. You don't want to be missed out too much. You don't want to miss out too much. And it just shot up like crazy there. So that's that. That's something to definitely keep our eyes peeled on, our eyes open on, or whatever. Others versus Bitcoin. This is the thing I mentioned before that we want to keep our eyes on. Blood Diamond, if you think it's going to be like that, it's going to be catastrophic. It's going to be rough. But the thing is, though, that maybe it's more like, where was it? Right here. February of 2017, which is where we're approaching. So you had that bottom here, bottom in November. Where was this bottom? Okay, it was December. But still, February of 17, he came down a little bit. There's probably a lot of fear right there. And then look what happened. You just shot up. So within the next few weeks, we kind of either nullify, maybe just confirm this as a red dot, or kind of confirm it and nullify it as a, kind of a buy signal, and then continue forward for others versus Bitcoin. And then you really start your altcoin season. So just, I would say it may be choppy into February, and then in March we break up, or we can break up sooner, Probably with all this stuff happening with the Trump coin and all that, maybe you gotta need a little bit more consolidation. I don't know. But that's what we're looking at. That's what I'm looking at. Just a few others that have, I don't know why I'm still looking at ApeCoin, but hopefully hold $1, potentially jump up. There's not too much that great here at the moment, but that trigger wave swarming, I do think it'll do something eventually. Cardano, 5-hour blood diamond, consolidation. But the big thing here, reverse head and shoulders, potentially jumping up to 220. When could you hit 220? Within a month to 2 months, I think you could be back at that 220 area. And then, voila, we're right near all-time high. So if you bought at the all-time high right here, you'd only be down 50%. I'm just kidding. You're probably currently down about 70. You'd only be down about 30% if we go up to 220. So there you go. That's that possibility. Hopefully you didn't buy at that point. Hopefully you bought at a better point. But yeah. Anyway, or if you don't own Cardano, that's okay too. Who cares? But anyway, Polygon trying to hit off this point. I mean, I think things are going to kind of hold here. They're just boring. They're consolidating. It could take its time. It needs to play the game here. But you got to eventually jump up, I would think. I mean, the one we're talking about, a lot of people, popular one, big area on Trump. Can it lose this and go down to like 26? Absolutely. Will it jump here? Maybe. It's tough to say. It's down a lot. I don't see this doing a full bubble pop pattern all the way down immediately. We don't know what'll happen. It's tough to say. But if you're trying to buy the dip, big area. If you're trying to buy the dip and hold until the end of the year, get a couple X, or I mean, even if you could just get back up to even close to all-time high, 100%. And then where could this potentially, top out? I mean, maybe 140, a 300% or more, there's definitely that possibility here. Other thing too, just a few more things, Bitcoin dominance, it's jumping back up, trigger wave right there. I mean, I think it's going to roll over, maybe reject from that 59. I think we're probably topped out unless something crazy happens. And I think the important thing that we want to look at is yields too, because if we look at, talked about it yesterday, I know it's repetitive, important thing to realize though, yields when they topped out here, October 23, very bullish for the market. Obviously this one, when we topped out there and came down, that was bearish, the market came down with it. However, I think it skips a generation. There is where it's probably going to follow downward with the market. Powell sounds less hawkish. You get a little bit of quantitative easing sometime this year. And voila, that gives your altcoin season and hopefully a repeat of this situation for a lot of relief in this market. A lot of people are going to feel pretty relieved, I think, if we come back down to these lows on yields, especially with interest rates and a lot of things. So I think that's an important thing to realize. Also, when you look at the 2-week, we need that wave to kind of bring us down, and I think it will. And I think probably at least come down to high threes at some point this year. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right here. If you guys are interested in trading, forgot to mention it, but if you're interested in trading, got a new sponsor of the channel. This is Breakout. If you click down the link down below, what you can do, this is really good for people who, even if you have a lot of money, I mean, it's better probably for people who don't have a lot of capital, just want to risk a small amount. You can get a 100K account, keep 90% of the profits for $880. Although you do have to pass the test, you have to get 10% before you lose 5%. A lot of people can't do that. I like the one-step evaluation. That's, I think, the one I did. You just got to get 10% before you lose 5. There's a 2-step evaluation. I guess that could be a little bit. Let's see if the price is the same here. But anyway, it's a good offer. Oh, it's actually a little bit less money, actually. There's 2-step evaluation. Okay, interesting. Maybe they give you less to trade with. I forget about that. I did the 1-step evaluation. I think you get the same kind of outcome of it, but it is cheaper to do it that way. But anyway, if you guys want to get an account, you can keep 10, 20, 90% of the gains you make after you pass the evaluation. I think it's a really good deal. Haven't heard any problems with withdrawing or nothing. Check out the link down below for Breakout. And if you guys want to, if you sign up for Breakout, buy any account here, do any of these here, give you one free month in the Discord. You just do the $5,000 one. This gives you 90% of your gains rather than 80% if you click that one. I'll give you one free month in Discord. Just open a support ticket with your UID in the Discord. Similar promo for BloFin or for BYDFI down below, both great trading exchanges. If you deposit at least $100 and open a support ticket with UID, I'll give you one free month in Discord. Got some really good trade subs in there. We got Nightshade, K-Mac in there, both amazing analysts. A lot of good stuff going in there. I mean, I'm trying to look. The main thing I've been kind of, I don't want to give it away completely, but trying to go long on ETH, ring this up a little bit. A lot of other good kind of trade subs I think will ultimately play out. So if you guys are interested, check it out. The links are all down below. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.